This is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
TaxAct filing software and live tax experts can help small businesses easily knock out their taxes. Actually, our experts can help you find deductions and credits for any sized business. Itty-bitty businesses, medium-sized, really big, mid-sized, small businesses, companies with 0 employees, and mom-and-pop conglomerates. Yep, our tax experts can help all of them. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
He's at war with woke.
Joe Concha
thinks liberals are a joke.
Joe Concha.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Welcome, everybody, on this Wednesday night. And thank you, God. Thank you for giving me this job. It's the most awesome thing ever because every day and night, the craziness actually makes this show so much more entertaining. It's horrifying for the country, don't get me wrong, but in this case, I think it's entertaining without consequences. And what I mean is, in Texas, we had a Democratic primary for the Senate seat there. In other words, not open for the Senate seat itself, but who will be the nominee on the Texas side against John Cornyn or Ken Paxton or Wesley Hunt. And it turns out that Cornyn and Paxton are going to go to a runoff in a couple of weeks. We expected that. I expected that anyway. Cornyn's the incumbent, Paxton the up-and-comer. He's currently the the Attorney General of Texas. So Cornyn, by some on the right, seen as a rhino. Therefore, he is vulnerable, and Paxton probably will win that runoff if I were a betting man. Anyway, on the Democratic side, however, who will face Paxton, from my perspective, will be James Tallarico. Now, this guy you've never heard of, but boy, you will, because he beat Jasmine Crockett, media darling, CNN, MSNBC. This gal had a cot at both bureaus in Washington. She was on so much. And boy, the social media love that we saw for Jasmine Crockett, off the charts. The new AOC, to the point where you got to think that AOC was probably thinking, hey, wait a minute. You're taking a little bit too much of my mojo. You remember Austin Powers 3. Mojo was being taken by Crockett away from AOC. She was getting that much attention, the next big star. And she lost last night, 4 or 5 points, pretty definitive loss for Crockett to Tallarico, who, quite frankly, has been campaigning for this seat for 2 years until Crockett jumped in late. Anyway, if you want to hear how insane this person is in Tallarico, you thought Beto O'Rourke was a bad candidate. Oh, baby. This guy makes Beto look sane, sober, and pragmatic. And all I got to say is, listen to this, and you're going to taste of exactly what Texas is going to be voting on in November for that Senate seat. This is cut number 6. Go.
Is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
God is non-binary. Okay. Hey, for starters, anybody who uses this language, as far as you're not really a girl or a boy, bad start, especially in the don't mess with Texas Lone Star State. Bad idea. Especially when you start invoking God as, well, he may be a guy or a girl. Bad idea. Oh, it gets worse. It gets much, much worse. Here is cut number 12, Elias, as far as, well, it's one thing for Democrats to say that there are more than 2 biological sexes. In other words, there's more than just guys and girls. And you want to say there's a third, well, that's a problem. If you want to say there's 6 genders, that's a real big problem. And Tallarico, sure enough here, well, I guess this is what he's going to run on, that there are actually 6 biological sexes. Again, in Texas, good luck. Cut number 12, go.
I want us all to be aware of is that modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6, which honestly, Representative Hefner surprised me too. Surprised me too, because I am not well versed in this issue area. I'm not a scientist. I'm a politician, a lot worse than a scientist.
6 sexes. What is this? The bar in Star Wars? Like all these different creatures and things? God is non-binary, and now there are actually not 1, not 2, but 6 sexes. Again, if this guy ran in Massachusetts, if he ran in Minnesota, I shouldn't say full states, Boston, Minneapolis, New York, Chicago, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, I would say, all right, might have a shot, I guess, considering who they have elected in recent memory. But this is, how about them Cowboys? Texas, all right? This is not a place statewide where this stuff's going to fly. And sure enough, this is what Democrats actually not only elected, but you're going to hear people in the media say that this guy has a chance. I mentioned Beto O'Rourke before. That guy was seen as having a chance as well. And he ran twice, not just for the Senate, but then for governor, and lost in ways that the New York Jets couldn't even dream of, as far as like beaten down badly. And every time we heard that he had a shot, no shot, 0 shot. And this is what Democrats are putting up in Texas. It gets better. Oh, I'm so prepared for this show. I'm very proud of it. Thanks to my producing team. Anyway, cut number 13. Here is James Tallarico, Democratic nominee for Senate in Texas, talking about how the trans community needs abortion care. I can't make it up. It's real. Here's his voice. 13, go.
Before we go further, I want to acknowledge that our trans community needs abortion care too. Defending trans Texans is something we have to do every day.
Oh, good luck. I don't care who runs against him. All right. It could be Tom Landry, who literally is dead, could run against James Tallarico, and Tallarico will lose. I love Tom, by the way. The fedora hat, the suit, right? The ultimate cowboy. I love the American Express ad. I really should grab that, where it's an American Express ad for a Dallas Cowboys coach, and he's in the Old West, and he walks in with his cowboy hat to an old saloon, and there are Redskins waiting for him. Like, you could never make that ad in a billion years now. But we'll grab that. Elias, if you could find that somewhere on YouTube, let's play that later in the show if we can. Anyway, let's go back to the loser in this place, and that is Jasmine Crockett, of course, who, again, this person, we'll put it this way, on MS, I'm not going to call it MS now. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it. Just like New Coke, didn't accept it. All right. It's MSNBC, damn it. And Nicole Wallace on there. Nicole Wallace, you say, oh, this liberal. She was the White House communications director for George W. Bush, who at last check was a Republican president. And now she's on there talking about how Crockett and Tallarico are the 2 most effective communicators in the entire Democratic Party right now. Shakespeare meets Reagan, basically. This is cut number 8. Go.
Especially by Crockett and Tallarico. They're 2 of the most effective communicators in the entire Democratic Party right now.
Oh, the most effective communicators. That's very interesting. Let's play cut number 9 here. Let's see how much of an articulate person Jasmine Crockett is in this clip, and then we're going to have some more fun. Trust me, stick around. Cut number 9, go.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
Uh-huh. The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now.
Right.
Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not.
Okay. I mean, if that's the most effective communicator in the Democratic Party, then just disband the party already. Anyway, here is Crockett calling, again, I cannot get my head around this, that there are major television networks that book this person to go on the air when she mocked the sitting governor, literally the sitting governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. What happened to Greg Abbott when he was 26 years old? Lightning hit a tree near where he was standing, and the tree fell on him, and now he is paralyzed from the waist down, has been in a wheelchair ever since. And this guy, instead of giving up, continued to fight, continued to move forward to the point where he became the governor of one of the largest states in this country. That should be applauded, and his paralysis should never be touched in any way, shape, or form in terms of mockery, in terms of comedy. Well, here's Jasmine Crockett mocking Greg Abbott for being in a wheelchair. This should be the end of your political career, but instead our stupid media actually embraced this person and put her on the air more. This is cut number 10, go.
And because we in these hot-ass Texas streets, honey.
Yeah.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot-ass mess, honey. So yes.
I don't know what's worse, her making that comment or the people whooping and hollering and clapping and laughing at that comment. We are lost as a society, no question. Anyway, let's go to Jasmine Crockett once again because, as Elias, my producer, had said before, now we lose her. Like, she's a good percentage of the content on this show. I'm not saying a good percentage, but, a feature, right? A nice feature on this show to show you how crazy Democrats are. And again, you could say, well, you're just picking one congresswoman, Joe, out of 200 and something. Sorry. When the media puts this person on as much as they do, she is the face of the party. She is the representative, and she is the worldview and perspective of what they want to accomplish. Anyway, all right, my last Crockett, I swear. Here is Crockett played an ad when she launched this Senate campaign. And all the ad is Trump calling her a low IQ person. Now, I don't know. Putting on an ad, showing your face, and then the sitting president of the United States showing that you're not very smart probably isn't smart politically, especially, again, for the 1 billionth time during the show in friggin' Texas. This is cut number 11, go.
How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her?
She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble.
But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person.
And the ad is just Jasmine Crockett staring off into the sky, saying, yep, I'm stronger than this. Again, I cannot grasp how ridiculous this campaign was, and now it's over. And now you have Tallarico, who is infinitely worse than Crockett, I think, which is really saying something. I'm sorry, Elias. I'm going to play one more clip if you don't mind. This is cut number 14. This is who replaces Crockett in the Congress in Texas, at least until the seat is removed from redistricting. This is Pastor Frederick Haynes, and this is what he had to say about Charlie Kirk. This guy could be in Congress. Seriously, cut number 14, go.
In Utah, it's more of us in church than in Utah.
Funny. Great joke.
We ain't got nothing to do with what they just did. A white Christian gets killed, murdered, not assassinated. We're going to tell the whole truth today. Martin King got assassinated. Malcolm X got assassinated. Medgar X got assassinated. Don't compare Kirk to King. Ain't no such comparison now. Let me hasten to say.
All right, Elias, you can cut it here. You're anti-political violence, yeah. Okay. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Why are you even bringing up Martin Luther King, Malcolm X? They were assassinated too. They were political figures. who were killed for their political beliefs. It doesn't matter what color you are. Why am I even making this argument? Pastor Frederick Haynes is going to run for Congress, and probably in that deep blue district right outside of Dallas is going to win. And that person is a representative on Capitol Hill after what he just said in that clip you just heard. My hair hurts. This is a whole bowl of wrong. But we're going to have more fun as we move forward on Concha at Night. Please do stick around on 77 WABC and around the country. Back with more in just a moment.
Where liberalism is a no-go. The Joe Concha Show, weekday edition. Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So, a couple of years ago, we'll call it, I don't know if I'm doing my math here, 14 years ago or so, Barack Obama, president at the time, bombed Libya. And he did so without congressional authority. And didn't bomb them for a day or two. This went on for 7 months. Regime change. Gaddafi, gone, and the way he left the planet, trust me, you don't want to go through that. Let's just say there was a rifle, sodomy. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but it was bad. All right. Anyway, so if you're going to attack another country, then therefore, according to Democrats now, you need congressional approval through what's called the War Powers Act. Now, the problem with the War Powers Act is that it has not been declared since World War II in 1942. Oh. So, Fox News, Bill Maloogian, asked the representative of New York, Hakeem Jeffries, who happens to be the House Minority Leader, hey, what's different between Libya and Obama and Trump taking action against Iran now? And this is how this went, and it is unintentionally hilarious. Cut number 1, go.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries. Back in 2011, Nancy Pelosi said that President Obama didn't need congressional approval to bomb Libya. Now House Democrats say President Trump needs that approval to bomb Iran. What's the difference?
Well, obviously, Libya and the circumstances connected to that were very different than the circumstance that we face in Iran right now. I mean, I don't even understand the genesis or basis of that question. I suggest that you're not asking it in good faith. But obviously, as I've indicated, first of all, it was not in Congress at the time. So we're dealing with what we're dealing with right now.
That is the most ridiculous answer you could possibly give there. The genesis of the question is wrong? No. When you attack another country, do you need congressional approval? And in Obama's case, Nancy Pelosi and every Democrat said, no, you don't. And now, in Trump's case with Iran, they're saying, yes, you do. Pretty basic stuff, but that's where we are at this point. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
It's the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
I'm going to talk about this every day, maybe for the rest of my life. I cannot get over the fact that you have a maniac who killed a father of 2, husband, in the middle of the street in Manhattan. The CEO of United Healthcare shot him in the back like a coward. And this guy, who should be completely and totally ostracized and condemned by every sector of this society, is now getting a play in New York. And it's based on the sold-out satirical stage play that premiered in San Francisco in June of 2025 called Luigi the Musical. If you are not beyond pissed off about this, then you have real problems as a human being. This person should not be celebrated in any way, shape, or form. He should be fried. He should be executed. It should be death penalty kind of stuff, which has already been thrown out in his trial. I cannot get over the fact that San Francisco did this and now New York. I guess, blue cities, blah, blah. You're celebrating a murderer. When's the Charles Manson play going to come? Osama bin Laden, are we going to do that next? Where do you want to stop? This is so effing ridiculous that a New York play, and of course, actors will line up for it, and the New York Daily News, that rag, I have no idea how it's still in business, losing money, just like Stephen Colbert, just like all these other liberal outlets who just don't do the news. Oh, they'll celebrate it, right? New York Daily News, you utter POS. My goodness gracious. Well, anyway, we have a preview of the Luigi Mangione play coming to New York City, which will premiere about 20 minutes away from where Brian Thompson was shot and killed, just going out to get a coffee before some morning meetings around 53rd and 6th in New York City in Midtown. This is a clip of the play. I shouldn't even play it, but it just so disgusts me. And I would think and I would hope that New Yorkers and anybody with a voice would stand up and say, we cannot celebrate a person who murdered somebody in cold blood. But nevertheless, here we go. Cut number 5, go.
Can I get a soap and some towels, I guess?
Yeah, let's just check your balance, Mangione. It looks like it is $400,000.
Wait, what? What? Woo. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Where is that coming from?
It looks like a couple of places. MILFs for healthcare reform. Bottoms United for Luigi. And this last, Lindsey Graham?
I don't even know how to put my head around that. That people are laughing. Again, this is the father of 2 boys who was gunned down. And you want to say, well, Luigi was trying to make a point. Point against whom? Against Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare? Because Luigi, who grew up really rich, I mean really, really rich, when you could go to the University of Pennsylvania, we're not talking Penn State, UPenn, and you could get your degree from there, and then suddenly you're really pissed off about your health care, but your health care doesn't even come from United Healthcare, but yet you gun down the CEO of that company. Again, you should be executed for doing so. I don't talk in these terms. You guys know me. I think you know me. I haven't been on the air that long here on WABC, but in general, if you watch Fox, you read my columns. I don't talk in hyperbolic, provocative terms, but this person should not be breathing air on this planet. And instead now in San Francisco and New York, he's getting a play where his insanity, murderous nature is being celebrated. Are we going to do a play next about Tyler Robinson, who gunned down Charlie Kirk? Should we do that next? How about Thomas Crooks? Let's do a play for him too. The guy who nearly assassinated President Trump. Let's just, we can make a series out of it, a Netflix series. What do you think? What an absolute effing joke. I've never been more angry about something in my life than this. I swear. This should be, forget an 80-20 issue, 100-0 issue. This is a murderer who executed somebody in a public street from behind for no apparent reason. And now he's getting plays, and as the play just showed during that clip, he has now, forget $400,000 in his GoFundMe account, he has more than $1 million. There are women that are going onto social media saying they want to marry this person if he gets out of jail. Sorry. I really fear where we are as a society. And I get that all of you listening, or at least 95% of you, are shaking your heads too, saying, what the F? How is this possible? But there is another faction of the society that celebrates Luigi Mangione, and they'll probably vote for the blue team in the midterms. But we'll think about this for a second, right? We had that freak also down in Virginia, all right? He runs for attorney general. This guy, Jay Jones, is on tape fantasizing about the murder, not just of his political opponent, a grown man, but also his wife and 2 very young children, saying they're young fascists that deserve to die in their mother's arms. And what happened in Virginia, which I think it's certainly not a blue state, it's purple blue, we'll put it that way. Glenn Youngkin got elected there, and good for him. But in the end, this guy, Jay Jones, who that should have been the end. Every Democrat should have came out and said, that is unacceptable. It's on tape. Again, not innuendo, not sources say, on tape. He said this. That should be the end. Every Democrat should come out and say, this is wrong. And that was that. And almost no Democrat did. None. And he won in Virginia by 5 points. Can anybody explain this? Well, it's the same people that will go see the Luigi Mangione, the play, I guess. We're so screwed as a society when more and more people on the left embrace violence. It's a permission slip to murder. That's all this is and nothing more. Anyway, on the sane side, here we have Marco Rubio explaining why we went to war with Iran. And again, I think Rubio, bar none, 100% MVP of the Trump administration right now. He has like 9 jobs within it. So quantity alone, good job, Marco. But this guy is flawless. He is somebody who has his convictions. And boy, is he articulate in expressing those convictions. This is cut number 3. Go.
Let me explain to you guys this in simple English, okay? Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics. They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons. They intend to develop those nuclear weapons behind a program of missiles and drones and terrorism that the world will not be able to touch them for fear of those things. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make those things so that they can never have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president made this decision. It was the right decision, and the world will be a safer place when these radical clerics no longer have access to these weapons. You see how they're using them now. Imagine how they would use them a year from now if they had more of these.
Put this guy in front of microphones every day of the week and twice on Sunday, as they say. Now, on the other side of this is Senator Chuck Schumer, the minority leader in the Senate, one of the top leaders of the Democratic Party. Cut number 4 shows that, well, this is what, again, Chuck, you got to retire because you make no sense here. This is Kamala meets AOC meets, I guess, Chuck Schumer at this stage of his career, and it does not, well, play well. Cut number 4, go.
Do you think Israel, forced the U.S.'s hand here, boxed the U.S. in on this?
Look, no one wants a nuclear war. No one wants a nuclear Israel. But what? We certainly don't want an endless war, plain and simple. What did I say?
What did I say?
Oh, no. Got it. Let me say that again. No one wants an endless war, but we certainly don't want a nuclear Iran. That's for sure. Okay?
Can I get a do-over? Because I said the wrong country. And then everybody laughs along in the press corps. You don't press the guy in any way, shape, or form? Of course you don't. My goodness gracious. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill today, oh boy, this is as uncomfortable to listen to, and I would say I feel sorry for the guy if he wasn't an absolute and total prick, and that is Tim Walz, a goofy completely cartoonish prick, but nevertheless, Nancy Mace on Capitol Hill talking about Minnesota spending on autism, and Tim Walz. I'm sorry. When I come to this show, when I go on Fox News, when I write my columns, I prepare. It's something you do. The old saying in the Navy SEALs is the more we sweat in training, the less we bleed in war. And Tim Walz did not sweat in any way, shape, or form during his prep here. It is very, very apparent, as Congresswoman Mace points out. This is cut number 15. Go.
How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2017, Governor?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, Congresswoman.
Did you prepare for this hearing today? Did you do any preparation
I take
for this
Congress
hearing today?
seriously.
And you've seen the numbers about autism fraud in Minnesota. So we're going to do some Minnesota math with you today, okay? Are you ready? How much money was spent on 2017 for autism in Minnesota? How much?
I don't know. I wasn't the governor.
Okay. Did you not just say that you prepared for this hearing today? $1 million, okay? A quick Google search or using your AI could tell you $1 million was spent. How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2024?
I don't have the number in front of me. As
Were you governor in 2024?
I was, but I'm not the
Okay,
head
so
of
your
HHS.
excuse before that you didn't know what 2017 autism numbers were because you were not governor, and today you can't answer the numbers about 2024 as governor, and you still said you prepared for this hearing today. It's unbelievable. $343 million was spent in 2024. What percent increase is that from $1 million to $343 million? What percentage increase is that?
I'm not here to be your prop. Go ahead and tell me.
I mean, do you hear these numbers? 1 million to 343 million as far as spending on autism centers where you don't know where the money's going. You're the governor of Minnesota. You walk into this hearing and you say, I don't have the numbers in front of me. This is two of the things you are there to talk about. What was it before you became governor, and what did it become, and what did you do about all the fraud that was there in Minnesota? Oh, man. And all I can say is, actually, I'll let Representative Pat Fallon of Texas, Republican, explain this for me. Again, this person was a couple of swing states away in Tim Walz from being a heartbeat from the presidency. That guy. And Representative Fallon lays this out perfectly in terms of a pattern within the Democratic Party as far as picking VP candidates. This is cut number 18. Go.
When Barack Obama was choosing his vice presidential candidate, he had three criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody that wasn't as smart as him and had less talent and charisma and couldn't possibly outshine him. So he picked Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden in 2020 used the exact same criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody who wasn't as smart as him, had less talent and charisma, and wouldn't outshine him. And he picked Kamala Harris. And then in 2024, Governor, I think it's very evident why Kamala Harris picked you. The talent pool, Mr. Chairman, the talent pool isn't just shallow. Brother, we have hit the shore, and I yield back.
It's kind of true, right? I mean, Biden was only picked because, well, Obama wanted somebody, I guess, because he was only a community organizer, to shore up his foreign policy bona fides, as they say. In other words, give me somebody who, maybe was in the Armed Services Committee, or maybe looks like somebody who traveled the world when I was community organizing in Chicago. So that's why Biden got chosen. And then you look at Tim Walz being chosen. Actually, let's go back to Kamala Harris being chosen by Joe Biden, because Biden promised he would pick a woman of color to be his VP. Oh, okay. So when you really look back on it, that leaves him three choices. Karen Bass, the current mayor of Los Angeles, good luck with that. Stacey Abrams, two-time loser in Georgia, election denier, or Kamala Harris, who of the three, I guess if we're living in a social media world, I guess is the most aesthetically pleasing of the three. And therefore, well, yeah, good enough. I'll take the person who is a person of color and is a female therefore good enough, instead of who's the best person for the friggin' job. And then, again, this happens all the time. The VP is not chosen because they should be the number 2. They're chosen because maybe that person could get me the most votes. Now, I don't think Donald Trump chose J.D. Vance for that reason, because he already had Ohio. J.D. Vance was the senator from Ohio, a red state, so that wasn't a reason. And obviously it wasn't because of gender. It wasn't because of facial hair. Maybe J.D. Vance is the best person suited to be president of the United States after Donald Trump leaves, if not Marco Rubio. Just saying. And Fallon laid that out perfectly in front of Walz, who had that look you saw during the vice presidential debate against J.D. Vance, wide eyes and not knowing any idea where he is, because deer in the headlights do that. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. We wrap this puppy up in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
If you want to hear how low Democrats will go when they can't win the argument, they get personal. That's when you know you lose the argument. And on Capitol Hill today, Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Security, right, as far as being the person that runs that. If you want to look at her report card, it is this. We have not released anybody who has come into this country illegally for 8 months. 8 months that border has been closed. There has been tens of thousands of deportations, including self-deportations, then going into the hundreds of thousands as a result of Kristi Noem, DHS, President Trump, as far as his direction. So if you want to look at Noem's performance, just based on numbers, it is nothing short of incredible. So when Democrats can't attack the numbers and the performance, therefore, they go after her personally in the most slimy, I haven't used that word since the 80s, I don't think, but just grotesque ways possible. This is cut number 22, and this is all they're reduced to, people. This is all they're reduced to. Cut number 22, go.
So, Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming
and
my
ma'am, one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House. There are thousands of them in the federal government.
So reclaiming
and
my
is an
time,
advisor
Secretary, it is
has
okay for
no,
you to be
no
offended
authority
by
to
the
be
question.
making any.
It's okay for you to be offended by the question. Then why'd you ask it, you hack? Why did you ask it? It's okay to be offended by the question? What does that have to do with border security? What does it have to do with illegal immigration, deportation? What does that have to do with anything? I swear to God, I couldn't believe when I heard it. And there it is. And whether she did or not, who cares at this point, given what we've seen in government over the years? I'm sorry, I don't condone it. I don't do it. But at the same time, to ask that is obviously something that gets that congresswoman on MSNBC and CNN and gets them the spotlight they want. The Jasmine Crockett, Zohra Mamdani kind of approach, I guess, AOC. Say something provocative, completely out of left field, make it personal and provocative, and that gets you attention and therefore fundraising dollars. What an absolute effing joke. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time here on WABC and on stations around the country. Until then, 2 words for you. Bye-bye.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors the sacrifices of America's heroes. Heroes like U.S. Army Specialist Andy Keith Kingsley. Andy was part of the 82nd Airborne Division. He received various awards and decorations, including a Purple Heart. While deployed, Andy was catastrophically injured in combat. Andy and his family received a mortgage-free smart home from Tunnel to Towers. But many more heroes, like Andy, need your support. Donate $11 a month and amplify your impact by donating your car or land. Go to T2T.org.